Neil Hamilton.
Well, I rise to support this motion this afternoon, and it's difficult to see how anybody could, in good conscience, oppose it. What possible argument could there be for not wanting to publish this report with all its limitations and redactions? In a previous incarnation, I had a responsibility on behalf of the UK government for issuing public interest immunity certificates, which meant that you kept something confidential for reasons of national security or other important national interest consideration. There is no such consideration which could conceivably be advanced to justify the maintenance of secrecy in relation to this report. I can see that there are reasons for government insecurity why they wouldn't wish to see it published, but there can certainly be no reason of national security which would justify the continuation of secrecy. Now, that's not to say that I think that we will learn very much when this report is published. I've had experience of inquiries into leaks or alleged leaks from government on many occasions in the past, and internal inquiries never, ever get to the truth of them. And the truth of the matter here is that senior civil servants are not by nature trained to get at the truth in inquiries of this kind. We don't know how far and wide the Permanent Secretary's inquiries have gone. We don't know to what extent she applied some kind of forensic zeal to the evidence which she was able to examine. When these things are conducted behind closed doors, these pieces of information which enable us to evaluate how deep and detailed the inquiry has been simply don't become available. So I'm not expecting anything very much to arise from this, and indeed the series of inquiries which has been set up have been deliberately designed, I think, not to enable us to get to the truth. Otherwise, if we had had an overarching inquiry which was undertaken by an independent, an obviously independent person such as Queen's Counsel, then we might have got somewhere. But given the multiplicity of inquiries and the different terms of reference, all set by the government which is itself being investigated, apparently, we are not likely to get at the truth. Permanent secretaries are not by nature trained to be sleuths, nor are they particularly adversarial in the skills which they bring to the task. That's no criticism of the Permanent Secretary in this case, or indeed in any other case. That's merely a matter of fact. And consequently, she's not, with all her abilities and obvious strengths, best fitted to carry out the task with which she has been entrusted. The one thing we do know is that secrecy is the shield of injustice and the handmaiden of abuse of power. And I can see no reason why, in this particular instance, this inquiry's results should not be published. We know that, unfortunately, in the Labour Party at the minute, there are all sorts of internal shenanigans going on. I don't want to go into them in any depth in this debate because it would be beyond the terms of reference of what we're here discussing. But there is a nastiness which from time to time enters politics in other parties as well. And I think that what we are dealing with here is an example of that. And we should all actually want to get to the bottom of it. I've been on the receiving end of similar kind of treatment more than once in the course of my political career. And governments of the day never ever want you to get to the truth. And it isn't necessarily the ministers themselves. It's often people who are exceeding their authority, thinking that they're doing something which their ministers would approve of, who are responsible. The whole special advisor system itself is geared towards this. It's usually some staffer who's responsible for this kind of bile which is poured out upon the body politic. I've seen it in the Conservative Party, and I think we're now seeing it in the Labour Party as well. And so I hope in the course of this debate that the seekers after truth, the tribunes of transparency, the rooters out of injustice in the Labour Party, in the Labour group in this Assembly, will come to our aid and say that for them and their party too, they do want to get to the truth of this matter, that they do want the reputation of government to be sustained and indeed enhanced, and more to the point, that they want to see this Assembly, as the tribune of the people of Wales, get to the truth of this matter and establish its own reputation as a true representative of the people and a representative of truth and justice.
Lee Waters.